Welcome to another stock analysis video performed by MajesticTrader.com, where active traders see greater profits. So let's begin. Hi everybody. We are looking at the daily chart of the S&P 500. We've had one interesting week this week between some of the major headlines that were even non-economic. The earthquake on the East Coast, the pending hurricane on the East Coast, Steve Jobs stepping down as CEO, although he still will be with the company, and also Bernanke in Jackson Hole, which ended up to be a non-event, which is something that we spoke about in our last newsletter. Now, one of the things that we want to look at here on this chart is what happened here over the last week. Early in the week, we had our hard rally up to the 1190 level, which actually was in our newsletter last week as the bottom of the top of the range that we expected price to go to. Fell down very hard yesterday, and then today we had some major whipsaw action. Market started down very heavily, and then when Bernanke's speech notes came out to say that essentially nothing was being done, and they weren't going to do anything until they met September 20th again, basically, the markets came all the way down into the 1130s. All that happened within 15 minutes. So by 10:15, the market rallied up very, very hard, all the way again into the 1170, 1180 area. Then it pulled back a little bit, and obviously there's some exhaustion. A lot of people are just not trading this afternoon on Friday. Number one, it's a summer Friday, and number two, people in New York are going home to hunker down, get ready for the hurricane over the weekend, which is supposed to be one of the worst they've seen in years. So perhaps some of the derivative plays with that hurricane is going to be Home Depot, Walmart, Lowe's, and some of the other staple goods, Procter & Gamble, Kraft, Conagra, Hanes Celestial. Those are some of the other plays that you might want to look at. So looking forward into next week, which is one of the biggest headline-driven weeks that we've had in several months. We have pending home sales, Case-Shiller Index, ADP employment, ISM manufacturing, and then the big one on Friday, September 2nd, which is going to be the unemployment number. And that's not expected to get better. So it'll be at least 9.2 or worse. In addition to that, we'll talk about what's going on in Europe, some of the other factors that we're looking at to continuing a down market. But if you notice here, the price action here had a tough time getting over this trend line that was established a little over 2 years ago in July 2009. I don't expect the price to truly get above the 1190 to 1200 level and sustain itself. There's a lot of factors that are going to keep this pricing suppressed under the 1200 level over the next 2 to 3 months. We'll have to see what happens when Congress comes back and what Bernanke talks about when he has his meeting on September 20th. But some of the other factors that we haven't even discussed to the continuing down market is the following. We have no unemployment. We have no employment growth. So without employment growth, how are people going to be able to afford housing? The housing market, it's tough to even call it very weak. We could call it basically depressed. There's too much inventory on the market. More than a third of the houses out there are underwater, and housing pricing seems to be going down. We're going to get a really good indication of that next week with the Case-Shiller Home Pricing Index, which I believe is on Tuesday. And we'll find out whether or not prices bumped up a little bit. But if nothing else, it's been flat to negative over the last 6 to 8 months. Then two of the biggest things that a lot of people that are investors, not necessarily traders, are not aware of. There's still a short-selling ban in Europe. France extended their short-selling ban into November. So the interesting thing about that is, obviously they're trying to keep prices propped up, but then again, are they masking how bad the situation is? The DAX, which is the Germany index, is down 20% in August alone. And DAX has not banned short selling, but the amazing thing is that Germany has seen some serious spikes down over the last couple of months, and essentially they've been holding up Europe. And if there are now problems with Germany, we could see some significant selling maybe another 15 to 20% down in European markets, the FTSE, the DAX, over the next 30 to 60 days. And then there's just a confidence crisis. And when people don't have confidence in the markets, people pull out of the markets and go to cash. They hold on to their jobs. And a week and a half ago, the consumer sentiment was the worst in 30 years. So this is not to be the bearer of bad news. Most of you know what's going on here. But what we're looking at is the S&P retesting these 1100 levels within the next 30 to 60 days, probably 30 days, especially if those European woes begin to exacerbate. Greece, Ireland, and Italy, those issues kind of come to the forefront with their banking and other economic debt issues. So these are some of the things to work about. If you're going to be long, don't be long. You want to be able to hedge your portfolios. You want to be able to watch these levels on the S&P, and if we drop down below 1150 and we hold that with some volume, you can pretty much bet that we're going to go down to 1100, and if we break 1100, which is what we're calling a concrete floor, we're going to test 1040. So those are some of the levels to be aware of. Stay tuned next week for an S&P analysis update, and you can go to our website where we will post this video so you can share it with others, and you can subscribe to our newsletter, which comes out weekly. In addition to doing an analysis on the market, we also give you stock plays that you should be aware of. You could be in these stock plays a day or two, you could be in it a week or two. Thank you for attending another MajesticTrader.com's stock chart analysis. Visit our website to request one of our newsletters. Go to our website at www.majestictrader.com. In the upper right-hand corner, put in your email address and your name, and we'll send you out a copy. Once you become a member, you'll have access to complete trade performance, all stock analysis videos, archived newsletters, and midweek alerts that are trading ideas. We'll send those out to you via email. Again, thank you for attending.